Hi students, this is Ms. Johnson with your notes on combining like terms with distributing. Our Shabbat is we're going to know how to combine our like terms with distributing. All right, let's get right into it. What we want to do is two things when we combine is we want to distribute what is right next to the parentheses first, and then we want to combine our like terms if that is possible. So when you think about order of operations, which we always have to follow in math, the first thing is parentheses, our grouping. Well, as we take a look at this, we have 7 times 1 minus 8 to the n, the quantity of that. And we cannot simplify 1 minus 8n. Those are not like terms. But what we do want to do is get rid of our grouping symbols. We want to get rid of those parentheses. And so the way that we do that is we take this 7, which is right next to the parentheses, means we're going to multiply. So we're going to multiply 7 times 1, and we're going to multiply 7 times negative 8n. When we do that, 7 times 1 is 7. 7 times 8n is negative 56, and we just bring the n along. Now, if we want to be most mathematically correct, we want to put the variable first, so we would want to put negative 56n plus 7. All right, example number 2, the quantity of 3x plus 4 times 5. Now, sometimes the number right next to parentheses is at the end. In this case, it's the 5. It's right after the parentheses. It still means to distribute and multiply. So we're going to do 5 times, and you want to go all the way over to the very first part of the parentheses. So we're going to multiply 5 times 3x, which is 15x, and then 5 times positive 4, which is 20. So we're going to get 15x plus 20. Number 3, we also have some negatives. So we've got negative 8, we're going to distribute times b, and negative 8, we're going to distribute times 3. And the negative goes with both parts. So negative 8 times b is negative 8b. Negative 8 times 3 is negative 24. So we have negative 8b minus 24. Example number 4, we have 4n minus the quantity of 7 minus 6n. Now remember, sometimes there's an imaginary 1 that we as mathematicians know is there, but we just don't have to write it. This minus really means a minus 1. There's really a 1 here. So as we take a look, this negative 1 is right next to the parentheses, so we are going to distribute negative 1 times each thing inside the parentheses. The 4n is not getting distributed. That's just going to hang out front. So I'm just going to write 4n. Negative 1 times 7 is negative 7. And negative 1 times negative 6n, a negative times a negative, we know is a positive. So positive 6n. Now that we've distributed, in this case we have some like terms. We have 4n n plus 6n. 4n plus 6n is 10n. The minus 7 is just going to come along. It's not a like term, so our final answer is going to be 10n minus 7. A couple more examples. Number 5, negative 3 minus 7 times the quantity of negative 3 minus 6v. As we take a look, this 7 is right next to the parentheses, and it's actually a negative 7. So as you are distributing, make sure that you look for this entire number and the sign that is in front of it to the left. So we are going to distribute negative 7 times each thing in the parentheses. So times negative 3 and times negative 6v. Negative 3 is out front, so we're just going to keep it. Negative 3. Negative 7 times negative 3 is a positive 21. And negative 7 times negative 6v is a positive 42v. Looking for like terms, we just have our whole numbers, negative 3 plus 21. We will combine those, so our final answer is going to be 18 plus 42v. But to put it mathematically correct, we want to put the variables first. So 42v plus 18. Let's look at problem number 6. This one, we have 2 sets of parentheses. What we're going to do is we're just going to look at this first part, and then we're going to deal with the second part. So we have 5 times the quantity of x plus 2. we're going to distribute this 5 to each part in the first set of parentheses. So 5 times x is 5x. 5 times 2 is plus 10. Now we're going to do the same thing with the second set of parentheses, except it's not just the 5, it's negative 5. So negative 5 times x is negative 5x. And negative 5 times negative 5, well, there's the bell for the end of the day. Negative 5 times negative 5 is going to be a positive 25. Now, looking at like terms, we have 5x minus 5x, that is 0. They cancel out, so we can just cancel them out. We no longer have any x's. Now we just have 10 plus 25, and 10 plus 25 is, oops, I made a mistake here. Let me fix that. 10 plus 25 is 35. That looks much better. See, we all make mistakes. We just want to catch them and learn from them. All right, let's go on down to number 7. Number 7, we have this negative out front, which again, remember, means negative 1 times the quantity of x minus 2. So we're going to multiply negative 1 times x and negative 1 times negative 2. So we can write negative 1x, or we could just write negative x. And then we have negative 1 times negative 2 gives us positive 2. Moving over to the next one, we have x times the quantity of 6x minus 7. So here we are going to distribute the variable x, and it's a positive. So x times 6x is going to give us 6x squared. X times negative 7 is negative 7x. Now as we take a look, our like terms, well, 6x squared, nothing's like that. But we do have minus 1x minus 7x. Together, those give us negative 8x. So we're going to have 6x squared minus 8x. Nothing is like our plus 2, so we'll just tag that on at the end. This is as simplified as we can get. And our very last example, we have negative 3n times the quantity of negative n plus 4. Or we're going to distribute negative 3n times each thing inside the parentheses. So negative 3n times negative n, negative times a negative is a positive. So we're going to have positive 3n squared. Negative 3n times positive 4 is going to give us a negative 12n. Moving on to the next set of grouping symbols, this time we're going to distribute n, and it's negative n. If we want, we can put the 1 in here. So negative 1n times 3 gives us negative 3n. Negative 1 times 7n is going to give us negative 7n squared. Looking at our like terms, let's see, we've got 3n squared minus 7n squared. So that's going to give us negative 4n squared. And then we have negative 12n minus 3n. That's going to be a negative 15n. So our final answer, simplified as much as can be, is negative 4n squared minus 15n. All right, our summary for today. Let's go ahead and write our 4 sentences. The focus of today's lesson was, I learned or remembered. An example is, and a question I have about. Go ahead, write your 4 sentences, fill in the blanks. This is Ms. Johnson with Distributing and Combining Like Terms.